Let's take a look at how to use the QUOTENAME function that's available in Microsoft SQL Server. The QUOTENAME function is a function that allows for you to provide a string and have the result returned to you with a particular delimiter at the start and the end of that string. The delimiters that are acceptable are the square brackets, the single quotes, the double quotes, the open and close brackets, the open and close curly brackets, the greater and less than sign, and the back tick. Now this function takes two inputs, however only one is required, and that would be the string that you'd want to be wrapped in a particular delimiter. Now by default, the delimiter, if none is provided, will be the square brackets. If you want one of the other delimiters to be used, you'd have to specify it, and that would be the second input required by that QUOTENAME function. Let's take a look at this in practice to get a better understanding as to how it will work. So here we have on screen the QUOTENAME function, and the string that we're interested in having a delimiter being applied to the result is learning SQL is amazing. So by default, with no delimiter noted, it will use the square brackets to delimit this string. So we're going to execute, and we're seeing where our results have the square bracket at the start and at the end of the string. To use another delimiter, or to specify the delimiter, you would put a comma and provide the second input, and in this case we want to use the greater than or less than sign, and we'd have to wrap the delimiter in single quotes. So we're going to use the greater than or less than sign, and we're going to execute, and we're seeing where it returned the information wrapped in the greater than and less than sign. Now we don't need to specify both. If we provide one item, it will return the information using both the left and right. So if we were to change this to the other sign and execute, we're seeing where it does return the same information. So we're able to go ahead and use the curly brackets. In this case, I'll only use one and execute, and we're seeing where it used both direction curly brackets and applied to the string. The QUOTENAME function can also be utilized on a particular column from a particular table. So let's take a look at our vehicle table to see where we can apply the QUOTENAME function. So here we have a table that has 8 records and 4 columns. We'll be using the QUOTENAME function on the make column. So we're going to write out our statement starting with our select keyword and providing all the columns we want to have returned. We will list the make column without using the function as reference, and now we will use the function, the QUOTENAME function, and specify the make column, and we want to use we're going to use the open bracket as the delimiter, and in specifying one, it will use both directional brackets to quote the make. So we'll list the other columns: model, color, and cost. And we need to provide the table we want to get information from, so that would be the vehicle table, and we're going to execute. So what we should see is 5 columns being returned. Well, let us give this column an alias, so we'll name it new text, So what we'll return is 5 columns with a newly created column called new text that will have the quote name function being applied to the make column, and the make column will be returned with Honda being within the open and close brackets. So we're going to execute, and we're seeing where it returned the information as expected. So our key takeaways: the quote name function takes 2 inputs, however 1 is required, and the required input will be the string. By default it will use the square brackets to wrap the string. However, you're able to use 5 different delimiters, or actually more than 5. Say it's square bracket, single quotes, double quotes, open and close parentheses, open and close curly braces, the greater than and less than, as well as the back tick.